I'm back from the camping trip. It's Friday. It's a little late in the morning. Got to get stuff out of the van and fold laundry and make something to eat and all that other good stuff. But just wanted to point out, today's going to be a day. I don't know if this will be a long video of me, everything I'm going to do today or what I'm thinking about doing. But what I'm starting off with is just something I heard on the radio. It's kind of a bummer for me. People run red lights here. It's crazy. What are you thinking? So be nice to one another, except when you're driving in traffic in LA, and just flip everybody off. Just point out that their blinkers don't work and that sort of thing. So I have a new thing here. You can't see it. I got this thing that plugs into a cigarette lighter, and it's an FM transmitter for my iPod to play through the radio. And I've gone through a few of these already, and the last one I had worked pretty well. Of course, when you're in a metropolitan area like Los Angeles, it's very hard to find a radio station with just static that'll tune into, because there's just so many of them here. And this new one I got really isn't working, so I'm gonna have to write them a note. I bought it through Amazon. They'll make it good. I wrote with them before over something else, and they made it right. At any rate, because of that, I was searching through the radio stations on the drive, and going over the grapevine, it's a real bitch as well. And coming back over the grapevine, I was forced to, do that. And I hit NPR. It was midday. It was afternoon. Some woman hosts this show, and it's a talk show. And she's got a woman and a man on, and they're both Democratic, operatives, And I'm listening to them, and it's so frustrating for me and anybody else with common sense, whose brain works. You listen to NPR, and you're like, if you don't listen to it all the time, people listen to it all the time and are just leftists, hardcore Marxists, Democrats. To them, they think they're hearing reality, and that's just how it is, because there's no rebuttal. There's no pushback on any freaking thing that these people said. And I'm talking to the radio that's not right. That's not true. That's a lie. What are you doing? And the gist of this guy, and you could tell he's upset. They're upset over this election. But he's saying how we have to push harder. We have to drive home the fact that it's us against them. And, he said something at one point that, Trump's saying all illegals are criminals or something. That's not what's been said at all. Somebody else said he's going to deport citizens. No, that's not it at all. They're just lying. It's going to take a while for this reset. It's just such a bummer. But part of me, on one hand, is frustrated because, again, no common sense being applied, outright lying, that's a thing. Then you have this other part of it that actually makes me happy, because I'm thinking to myself, and I'm saying it to the radio, I'm like, okay, keep doing it. Keep doing what you did, or what you have been doing, really for 16 years now, that led to this landslide election and popular vote, right? Now they're saying, I don't like repeating these terms because it's what other people say, but it's a mandate. Trump now has a mandate, meaning the majority of the population of this country overwhelmingly wants all this change. And now we got the House and everything. We got total control of the government. When I say we, I don't mean Republicans. Again, I got to correct myself as I speak when I can catch it, because some of you only hear everybody, you only understand things from your own perspective. We do. We all do that. So what you all need to be doing is broaden your perspective on the world and life, okay? If things aren't working out, this isn't working. If things aren't working out the way you thought or think they should be working, and your belief system has been shattered by this last election, how about you pull your head out of your ass and you start watching the other side and start seeing what the rest of us know to be true. And then, rethink what you think is accurate, and then learn that what you've been listening to is bullshit. They've just been lying to you. You got to get to that point, man. So that's the good part of this, listening to this NPR, because I'm like, okay, keep it up. We're just going to help us out more. Until those people realize that, no, we all have to start working together, and that a smaller government, cutting back on the spending, getting DEI out of the military, and all government agencies, it's so friggin' stupid and retarded. All these things have to be reset now. And listen, hey, control of all three branches of government, term limits, man. This is the time. We should be able to get term limits pushed through at this point in time. If that happens, oh my God, it's so huge. It's so huge. Not just for the USA, but the whole world, man. No more BS. Because these people will be forced to just be working, doing their job, not trying to get reelected. You know? There's going to be so much that happens. Anyhow, it was frustrating. So on the radio here, I have a head unit, and I'll show this to you. It's kind of a weird way to work this, but you should be able to see the dash here. I've got a head unit that's a little bit bigger than this unit, and it does have a trim ring for it. So I want to take this out, but I'm thinking about moving the climate control stuff on the bottom, and then putting the head unit up on the top. And I might have to make a custom trim ring or something for that. But part of the reason why, whoopsie, sorry, that hasn't happened, oh my God, is a couple reasons. Number one, it's tedious crap, and I don't like tedious crap. You guys know that. The other thing is I need another wiring harness that works with the one on the head unit that I saw in a video where a guy installed this unit. And I haven't gotten that yet. And then when that happens, I have to do that wiring, and so I could plug that in. And then, of course, the last part that I mentioned first, which is reconfiguring this and making it look okay. And I really need to do it because that unit has an aux cable where I can run my iPod right through the radio itself. I don't have to use an FM transmitter, and it'll be crystal clear all the time, no matter where I am. And it's got touch screen and navigation and all that stuff built into it. So I need to do that. Is that it? This is just a quick short video for you, I think. I don't know. Let's see if we do something else. Stick around. If not, I'll come back and put a tag on this and end it. Here's one of the sills that I did last week on the garage here. There's another one over here. I have to paint around that trim too. There's another sill here. Walk around to the back of the house. There's one here. And you could see there's already dust on this thing. But all I did was scrape off the flaky stuff and then sand them out and then apply 3 to 4 coats of varnish on this. Look how dirty it is already. This is leaf blowers mainly. It's a problem. If you've got nice sills, they don't have to be varnished. But the guys that come around and blow the dust around, it lands on the sills. And the dirt builds up, and then with the moisture that happens, it just becomes a thing, and eventually it kind of breaks down because of it. You got to keep your sills clean. At any rate, this is the back side of the house. I'm going to have to do the jam trim on some of this with the varnish too. I'm also going to have to re-stucco here where this is cracked. There's a kind of a foundation wall here, and everything moves here because of all the shake, rattle, and roll with earthquakes. So this is pretty common. Maybe point up over there between the block that I can see and redo this stucco. The house has been bolted to the foundation, but that's, it's not going to stop it from this sort of thing happening. And then there's a lot of, little cracks. I think there's more over here. Like I know there's one inside this corner here running up, so I'll dig that out. You might not be able to see it, might be overexposed for you on camera here. There's a crack here, here, here. This is all loose. So I'll bust that out and re-stucco it and then touch up the paint. Sills back here, same thing. I've got to do the gate. That's the back side of the gate, so not the nice looking part of it. And then the front door, I'm cutting the bottom off the front door and adding a piece of oak there. There's the fountain you guys always hear in the background. So last week I re-leveled that and got that sitting right. I also did these sills, obviously, but I'm gonna have to do again the casing around it, the jamb. That all needs another coat. And these screens are copper, so they'll clean up really, really nice. If you've got a citrus cleaner, you can spray it on copper screens, it'll bring them back to new. Copper screens are probably the best screens you could put in a house. They're also probably the most expensive. But they're great because when you look through them and the sun's not hitting them, you don't even see them. And they don't fall apart like the nylon or the aluminum. And the aluminum corrodes to the point where you have a hard time seeing through it after a while, and cleaning it is a hassle. And the copper, the cool thing is when the sunlight hits it at a weird angle, it shimmers in copper, you know, when they're clean. But to clean them, vinegar, lemon juice, anything with like a natural acid to it, kind of citric type acid, tomato paste, tomato juice, whatever. There's probably some other chemical that's actually designed to clean them. But it'll clean them like new again, and they're wonderful. So anyhow, I just figured, some of you, I know you were curious because I did that last week before I left. And again, I have to do the gate, the front door. This door here on the outside is going to get oiled. I made this door. You see some dirt back. This is all just from splash up from the dirt. A lot of it is because of the sprinklers and rain splashing up outside there. The back side of this door still looks pretty good. It's just dirty. That's an old piece of art that her husband did. This is the lady that lives there, and there's her husband, Tim. It's Tim and Julia when they were young. Really nice people. I made this all out of genuine mahogany. This would be a super expensive door to make right now because it's not African mahogany. This is Honduran mahogany, the real deal. Solid panel in the center of horizontal boards there. Beautiful stuff. Anyway, the next thing is I've got to clean up this whole shop, get all the stuff off the table saw, get this stuff out of there, get most of that back into the truck. I got to find a home for that cigar humidor thing. You might not be able to hear me because the mic is on the front. Let me turn the mic around and tell you what's going to happen here. Okay, so I got to clean this up in here. I got to redo my bedding, get this Fernie pad in there, get that all tucked in. I've got those wooden trays that are back there in the corner. Right there, they go on the bedding, and then I can put stuff on top of that. So they'll go up on here, and you guys know you can see all the way here right through to the back. I'll open that up and show you in a minute. I got to put everything away where it needs to be, but I've come up with a system in my mind, and I've got to have to talk to Dave about this. But I made this. All right, that's 1-inch poplar. The grain's oriented correctly. So I made a framework. I skinned it with 1/2 inch on both sides. And there's 2 of those that float. And it's a pretty cool system. It might sag a hair when you're on it, but it doesn't stay sagged. All right. Yeah, it remains pretty straight. But what I was thinking about is, you know, I could fit up here. It's okay. I have to sleep on an angle. You know, I'll put my head up on this end here and I'll sleep with my feet down there on an angle, and I could straighten out pretty well. This window's not needed. I've been thinking about it, about putting a panel in here. And one of the things I want to point out too is when people do a build out on the interior of their vans, a lot of the time, especially with the Astro van, if it has windows, they'll add framing to the metal and then they'll skin it, and you just lose so much inner space. I'm just going to drill in here. I already did, right, for the bolts for this bracket here that I custom made myself. 1/4 inch by 4 inch angle iron. Dave 3D printed me that plastic wedge here, right? So I can silicone that to the wall. Super robust here. But I can now cram insulation up in here, thinsulate insulation up into there. I'm going to do the same thing into that pillar. That stuff there is already being forced down behind there. And then what's going to happen is I'm going to do probably a spray on fabric. I might do a cork, like a stick-on cork. I thought about a faux leather, but that's polyester, so maybe real leather, because I got a bunch of leather scraps. And basically put something right on the metal itself. And you see this indent right here? And you see the glass here? I could put thinsulate across this whole piece of glass and then cut a thin panel that would go inside this groove all the way around and have a floating panel there. And I could adhere that with there's all kinds of ways I can adhere that. I'm not too concerned about it. The only thing is in the morning, I do kind of like to look out the window. So now I'm kind of considering bringing a panel that only comes up to here. So light still comes through the top there a little bit. I can see out that if I want to. I don't know. But it's cold on your head in those cold mornings. And I kept saying it was like 40 degrees at the campsite. But it had to be colder than that because I don't know if I showed it to you. I might have cut it out. But there was frost on the ground on all the grass in the morning. And we were down by the water. And so it might have been 40 degrees in the area generally. But down where we were at, it got much, much colder. And not a big deal. I mean, I've slept in my old Astro van, and I've mentioned before, 12 degrees in February in New Jersey. No heater or anything. So, at any rate, I might dress this window in that manner. I just haven't really decided yet. But on the bed, let's talk about that really quick. So, you'll see. I'll tuck all this in. It'll get nice and neat here. And like I said, you can now see all the way through here. This is the awning. The gas cans are still in the big black box. I'm going to take those out next. I'm going to go underneath the van, tell you what I want to do there. And while I can sleep up here on an angle, I have a couple of other issues. I have one major issue I got to deal with, which is I keep a bag of tools in this wooden tray here. 2 bags of tools, and they're mostly for the truck. And when I hit the brakes, that slides forward. And it can slide all the way up here sometimes. And I've been wanting to put a panel in there to keep that from happening. And on this trip, it finally hit me because I was trying to come up with a way to do it where nothing would come in from the walls here on these lower cabinets, which I'm going to take out at some point because I got to kind of redo this build. All this is going to come out really easy. I just want to insulate the lower sections with the thinsulate. I'll show it to you really quick here. I apologize for jumping around, but you can see behind here, I've already stuck thinsulate in here. And there's enough room behind this metal here and the body of the vehicle to cram it up in there with a stick. And you can see it poking through here and poking through there. So I'll get some more up in here, but I'll be able to insulate this whole thing and you still have the metal here. So again, I'll do this and I'll cut a wood panel probably to fit right in here. So it'd be a nice flat panel. Nothing will protrude into the van past here. And all of this will get wrapped with, like I said, a leather or a fabric with a spray glue. And I'll still be able to use magnets to hold things up because of that. But it'll be fully insulated. And then I'll probably get some of these. I haven't decided how I want to do it yet. I do have enough of that thinsulate, but I could just use these, cut them up to the right shape, put a binding edge on it, maybe in leather, and then do snaps and have them snap into place in front of these windows, unsnap them, roll them up, and then they hold themselves up at the top. So you can see out the windows, but then when you want the privacy and the insulation, you unsnap the strap, it rolls down, and then you snap them all down into place. That's what I'm going for on the back window, all these side windows. I'll figure out the front. But all that's going to happen. Now back to the bed. So the idea here is, it hit me on the camping trip, if I had a panel. At first I was just going to do a board, and I realized I could finally all I need is barrel bolts. A barrel bolt would attach to the panel itself, and then just be corresponding holes in the vertical panel over here. So this thing would butt up to it, the barrel bolt would slide into the hole, and you lock into place. One high, one low, one high, one low, and it won't go anywhere, and then nothing can slide forward. And then it hit me. I haven't done the math yet. I believe I should grab a tape measure. Let's just do this right now. Okay, I did raise this. There's a raising block here and on the other side because of the new fridges I was getting. And you have to keep in mind, you can't tell, but right here, there's 1/2 inch pad plus the carpet. So all this can change, but right now, from the carpet up, we've got 14 3/8 of an inch. So if you look over here again, I think this is on camera, I hope it is. From this edge of this to the closet here is 28.5 inches. 14 and 14 is 28. You see where I'm going with this? I know that this bed is 44 inches across, so what are we saying here? The mic just fell off because I didn't tighten it all the way. Oh my God. Because I'm getting tired. I'm getting real tired of spinning this mic around every time I turn the camera on. Because when I turn it around and I keep talking, you can't hear me very well, can you? Because this is a directional mic. This is extremely frustrating. So I have to keep turning off the camera, spin the friggin' mic around, turn the camera back on. It's bananas. Anyhow. I got to turn the mic around again. I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to do it with you here because I want you to know my pain here, my frustration. Okay. Let's do the math. 44 and 28. That's 68, 69, 70, that's 72 inches. That right. That makes sense. It'd be 6 feet of length here. Okay. So what I'm considering is making 2 panels with the barrel bolt system that'll go up there, right, behind the fridge, hold the tool tray. I'm going to reconfigure that. Then I'll have from the panel forward underneath here with plenty of room to stash the tools I'm usually using for the job, right? Between here and then putting tools up on the trays up here, I'm good to work. The stuff behind the panels on the back, I don't really use unless I'm working on the van or I'm camping. And now when I'm camping, what I'll be able to do is take those 2 panels out and set them up, right? Now, I don't want to interfere with this shelf here. I want to keep this because I like having these power stations up here. I mean, this is not all fully thought out. I'm not done with this. It's just a concept at this point here. But the idea is that from basically, somewhere around here over as far as I want, well, actually, let's rethink this. The panels can only fit, they can only be between here and there, which is over 48 inches. Let's measure that. It's about 48 3/8 of an inch, so I designed this so I could put 4x8 sheets of material on the floor from the back. I could stack it up pretty high in here. You guys have seen me do that recently. So with about 48, we'll call it 48 1/4 inches, if those panels are that long, I'll have to come up with a system on them. But basically, I think you guys can understand what I'm getting at. Is creating a system where these parts that are designed to keep stuff from sliding forward can come out and lay here, the 2 of them, and then I can sleep north-south, which it's not that important for me, but if I was with somebody, it's a lot more comfortable. Let me turn the mic around. I'm so pro. Get my eyeballs out of the friggin' sunlight here. The idea is yeah, if I'm in here with a gal, that's going to happen one of these days. I have faith. One of these days, I'll have a girlfriend. I promise you. It'll happen. I'm telling you. And then, the 2s could sleep north-south, and it'll work out pretty good. I'm kind of rethinking this as I go already. It's a good sound idea. The only problem with it is it eats up a lot of space here. I mean, you would do that for the setup already. I mean, I've had me and a gal up on here already, and it's worked out okay. I'm just trying to think all this stuff out and make it cooler and come up with new ideas. Anyhow, what I was going to get at is talking to Dave, because this wood frame works, but I thought about asking Dave if I bought the material using square tube steel and making these out of that, putting a plywood deck on it and doing it that way, because I think it could be stronger and lighter in a way and make more sense. And then I can come up with these systems to lock them together that make it strong. And even if it's just pins through holes to hold that one to this one, you know. This way I don't have to support it on the edges. I think you guys know what I'm getting at here. It's one of those days already. I should have filled up everybody's windshield wiper fluid at the campsite and not had this with me right now. Okay, as I was saying, I want to just come up with a system for that. Maybe this isn't going to work. Maybe it'll make more sense for me to just do a panel, a low panel, keep things from sliding, and then come up with another system that'll still fit underneath it. I'm going to figure this out. It's going to be cool when I get to it. But for now, I got to stop talking. Let me get the bedding done. Let me get the trays up here, reconfigure all the garbage in here, and then show you what I want to do with the gas cans underneath the van. All right, we are under the van. This is the area that the spare tire used to mount at, right here. And this contraption here is all going to come out. I'm going to unbolt this, and then I think it'll slide right out of here. And then I got to get this free, I suppose. That's probably just, well, you can see it's really, that's a crappy weld. It's like somebody's day one with welding at the GM factory. Gee whiz. Anyhow, I'll get that with a cutoff wheel and a grinder, and I'll get this out of here. And then, before I even do that, I'll go get the can first to make sure it's going to fit. But it should fit because I looked at it before and measure the length and everything. I think I might be able to. Now, I see the shock mount could be a problem. And of course, this here could be a little bit of an issue. All that stuff could be moved. I know for sure I could get one can in here. I might be able to put another can over here. So let me kind of work on that a little bit, and then I'll take you underneath here and show you what I discover. All right, so that's out of there. It's 4 13mm bolts. Now I got to get that bracket out. Let's go to get the can. I don't need this anyhow. Somebody wanted this, by the way. Whoever you are, reach out to me. We'll make a deal. It's working fine. Also, the whole back end of this vehicle is coated in oil because I had an oil leak up front and it all just blew back. I've since had that all fixed. I also want you guys to see how you do not see the oil pan hanging below the cross members up there. That's because I have the engine lift brackets in. There's been a lot of comments on my videos on that recently. I just answered another one this morning. Great system if you have a body lift already. See if you guys can see this here. I can't see what you see. So I got to get that contraption out of there, but you should be able to see if this can fits between the frame rails, no problem. And this thing's hanging down at least an inch up here, so once I get that out of here, this will fit a lot tighter. I don't have room for 2 of these across here, just because this exhaust hanger hangs kind of low there. Let's see something here. Let's be to the center there. You know, you might, if I moved a few things around, you might be able to put them both here. I don't know what you guys can see here, but there's a lot of space between these rails. And even here, I had ammo cans tucked up in here before that I took out because I still had the spare tire. So it was kind of a hassle to have them here because to get to them, I had to take the tire out. But now I can utilize that space. You're asking yourselves, what would I use that for? You know, the Astrovan is small, and I carry a lot of stuff just in case. So when it comes to things like fasteners, wiring, you know, the essential the hardware that you need to work on your vehicle, you don't care if somebody steals it. They steal it. They shouldn't. There's, you know, nothing valuable there really, but stuff like that you could do. Putting a gas can under here is a big deal. That was a thing that, if you guys don't know the story of these cans, these jerry cans from World War II, there's a guy in Ireland, I think. He did a whole documentary film on it. It's amazing, and these were the best there ever was. But they came out before World War II, and there was an American with a German in Nepal or someplace, and they were traveling around out there, and they had gas cans strapped underneath the vehicle. And so when the war broke out, he saw what was going on with gas cans and knew we needed a good one, and he knew that the ones that the Germans had were the best. So he paid to have that car shipped all the way back to the U.S. and taking a gamble that the gas cans would still be underneath the vehicle, and they were. But the U.S. government didn't see the need for it at the time. Eventually they made their own, but they were inferior to the German cans. The German cans were better, and that's what this is. This is an exact copy of the German cans used in World War II. So, anyhow, I'm going to make this work. They have stainless steel strap ratchet type clamps. It's like a quick catch buckle, and once you fold the buckle down, it's super tight. The adjustment there is how you mount it to everything. And I want to put rubber on the bottom of the deck here, just a couple strips of that for the can, and then on the bottom of the metal straps I put in, same thing. So it locks tight and cinches and it won't rattle around. I'll get to that. But yeah, it's a hell of a video today, huh? I did a whole video on flashlights too that I'm doing separately because a company sent me one. I think it's them who sent it. You'll see that today as well, I suppose. All right, I'm going to get rid of this right now. I'm going to go in the shop, straighten up a little bit, and then get my hand truck and dollies because I also have to help. I offered to help Mike and Vartan over at the watch shop because they are moving their location upstairs to the 3rd floor, and I told them I'd come over and help them move because they're always hooking me up and doing nice things for me, and if I could help them out, I mean, that's the very least I could do for them, right? Filthy. So I'll go clean up right now and roll over to them, get that stuff done. So maybe I'll show you a little bit of that too. Don't go anywhere, it's not over. I just dropped off a dolly and a hand truck. I'm behind the watch shop. I'm going to come over here tomorrow morning and give them a hand moving. They got a safe they got to move too. We just called the place. They charge like $700 to do it. I think Mike's going to rent a pallet jack and a truck with a lift gate. That'll be the hardest thing that we got to do. But that's it. That's the end of this video. So this is, you know, first day back from camping trip, and I'm doing all these things. And now you guys know what's going on. It's a funny thing with me with this channel, right? I know what I'm doing. It's just weird for me to do it. And I keep saying it. One of these days I'll get to the point where I don't bring it up anymore, but it's really just a vlog about my life. That's all that this is. And that's today. And it's still early. I'm just going to knock off for the day because I drove home yesterday and I was pretty wiped out. And I realized, like, late in the afternoon, I was really, like, tired. I'm like, what is going on? I know I slept well. And then it hit me. It's like, oh, yeah, well, I polluted my body for 2 days in a row with alcohol and everything else. And it really hit me last night, and it's still kind of in my system. So I'm going to straighten up the apartment a little bit today, fart around, help Mike move all day tomorrow, relax on Sunday, and then Monday get back to my regularly scheduled programming of working and trying to make a living. So that's it for now. You guys have a great day. Thanks for being here. Be kind to one another, and I'll catch you in the next one.